From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. Nick Barris here on a Monday. Appreciate you being here. We've got a good show on tap after the weekend, which, by the way, I hope you had a pleasant weekend, and I'm glad you're joining us now. We're going to be talking about, I don't know, everything from law enforcement to this new crazy jail to demolition and all that kind of stuff this morning with our regular monthly guest, Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Nick.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Happy Halloween.
I love your costume. All right. It is. It's Halloween. Do you guys do anything special on Halloween, the deputies or anything like that? I mean, today is the day kids are going to go trick-or-treating. Sometimes, they try to, some communities do it on the weekend or work it in that way.
We don't do anything.
You guys out and about for anything? No sober ride Halloween?
No, but I'll tell you.
Because there are Halloween parties.
There are, and I'll tell you, nationally, this has been maybe 10 years or so ago, Halloween was one of the busier DUI nights in the country back then. I remember doing some study. We were working to improve our sober ride program, but if you think about it, how dangerous is that with kids and people out drinking and parties? And of course, I think it's better when it falls on a weekday, although the kids don't love it. I mean, on the weekend.
Because they have to be in earlier, maybe because of school, right?
And there's probably not as much
craziness
partying going on, and I think combining those two is really dangerous.
Well,
so,
do you have much of an intake then at the jail on Halloween?
I looked at it back then. It's been 10 years or so because we ended up doing ours on St. Patrick's Day is our other one. We went from New Year's. We do New Year's still, of course, sober ride, but we moved it to St. Patrick's Day, and we were trying to figure out would another holiday or the 4th of July or whatever. But back then we didn't see the increase in arrest on DUI for Halloween night, but I'm sure if it falls on a Friday or Saturday, and I'm sure other things probably could compound that. But just think about the dangers of kids walking around the streets and people out, running around doing their thing. So I think it's a little safer if it falls on a Monday. I will tell you, I went by the office on the way in, on the way over here this morning, and forgot that we do a little. Folks in the admin building anyway can dress up, and I walked into people I've worked with for 25 years, didn't even know what I was doing. I thought, what am I doing here? So
we have maybe some people here at the station dressing up in costumes. It's changed a lot too. Halloween's different now. You got trunk or treat, or people go to community centers. Or they have gatherings at their churches. I remember when I was a kid. First grade, second grade, I loved Halloween. It'd be me and my buddy, and we'd take off and trick-or-treat till after dark by ourselves, the two of us. You do that these days, your children may not come home. It's just too dangerous. It's horrible to say that. And that's not to say kids maybe weren't getting snatched back then, but not to the degree that we see it today. And I don't think there's any parent out there that's responsible that lets a first grader and his friend go out and trick-or-treat till after dark by themselves. And I did that when I was growing up. That was years and years and years ago, but now it's a lot more controlled.
Man, I was thinking about that driving in this morning. I was thinking about my son. I took my son to school this morning, and he's 14. He's not interested. He's right on that age if it's too cool to do it now.
Not going out anymore yet.
But I was going through that a little bit, and I was thinking about, one other thing that was totally different for me growing up was I knew 90% of the houses that I was knocking on the door. The people that I knocked on knew me, and I knew them, and and it was a neighborhood where families knew each other, and if and so I remember knowing, I wonder what the Barrises are going to give us. Knock on the door, and you kind of. So today, I just don't feel that in neighborhoods anymore. It's just
not
hard
the same.
to.
It's just not neighbors. Now, are you going to get trick-or-treaters at your house?
I don't. I'm kind of in a little more of a rural area of the neighborhood. It's kind of a boring area.
Yeah, we don't get many because, it makes sense. They hit the neighborhoods where it's house. Kind of miss having trick-or-treaters, but I haven't had them in years. So
we used to take a pillowcase. I didn't even have a,
Which pillowcase makes sense.
Yeah, it was
because if it rains and you've got a paper bag, you're in trouble. You're losing all your candy. And someone told me that you used to, when you did have a home where you gave out candy, you didn't give out candy, you gave out dental floss and toothbrushes. That's a ticket to getting toilet papered. All right, I can't believe you would do something like that.
Well, I didn't do that, but I've been to those houses and you remember them. Even with your own kids, you're
Here's some little mini dental floss. You're getting toilet papered, man. That's it. All right, listen, a couple other things, and we'll open up the phones for you if you want to jump in here. I had heard that they had torn down portions of the jail, and if you've been down here, as you know, we're going to be building a new one here, and it's coming down fast. And they actually tore down one, and there was a little tiny space that was there, and there was some aged julep that had been there for years, and it's considered like the vintage, smoothest stuff. Someone had stashed it, and over the years it's just aged, and it's Is that
I don't know
true?
that that's happened. You like to tell these stories, but I bet you it happens. There's some version of something.
Explain to folks what julep is.
Yeah, julep is a homemade alcoholic drink
that they find a way to make in their jail cells.
Yeah, with bread and liquid and
some
sugar.
Some kind of sugar, like fruit juice or something?
Really any sugar they can get their hands on.
Is it always going to make them sick, or is there ever been julep that actually, got them drunk and didn't get them in the infirmary?
Lord. No. It doesn't all make them sick.
So sometimes they're actually a batch that might be...
Well, I would never. I would just say, right. I mean, and I think in an environment like that, it's when you have people being arrested for drinking antifreeze.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many other factors, but I mean, there have been situations over the years where. That is successful, and usually it's inmates that are working in the kitchens or other areas that can help get some product and make it.
Yeah.
But then you have to basically cook it, which means just leave it. Getting the yeast out of the bread, just throwing bread in there.
I remember discovering julep. When I did tours and people like you told me about it. All right. In all seriousness, as it's coming down, I mean, are you pleased with the progress? Anyone driving down here, the periphery buildings are going fast. Now, the main jail structure. What's the timetable, and how are you with the progress?
Yeah, I'm like you. I mean, I think the schedule's working pretty well right now. The exterior parts of the building that really aren't the jail, most of what you're seeing coming to the gym is being torn down right now, and some of the other areas that are more hollow, if you will. The jail, the core of the building, I think starts the first week of November, which is probably next week. I wouldn't count this week, where they actually get inside there with
the big boy. Really?
Right.
So what will they do? Will they gut it? I mean, I know most of the stuff's been removed that you can just move easily. Yeah. So what are they going to do?
They explained to me that what they're going to do is to try to work up the side of the building, kind of tear down pieces of where the crane, the equipment that they use to tear it up, can kind of crawl up to the top. And then there's some machinery. I haven't seen this yet, but they call it munchers, and they basically turn them loose where it crunches up that steel, which is inside, and then they'll haul off the steel out of there.
And someone was telling me you're going to have almost a crane on top of a crane at some point to get to the higher level ones.
Yeah, and
I don't even know how they do that.
I don't.
That's amazing.
I'm sitting there watching. I mean, I'm fascinated with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're literally. I mean, the way that they're tearing it, to me, it's got all the steel in that building and rebar and everything else. But they sort the steel out and the concrete and haul that off separately. So one piece of machinery is bringing the building down. The other one's sorting out between the metals and the concrete. And then again, you're going to get into some real steel and metal now once you get into the building.
Right.
I mean, it's floor after floor of just solid steel.
Is anything from here going to be salvaged, to your knowledge? Or I don't know, they maybe recycle the steel that they send off, but anything that would be used in the new facility when they rebuild, I can't imagine.
Just for keepsakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, any keepsake stuff that might be kept?
We're doing some bars, we're doing some bricks and stuff like that, but nothing of any significance. You just for the memory of it. But it's just, and to be honest with you, today's technology is so much better with the shape and size of the way they build their cells and the way that it'll be, totally different. But it's, I mean, you just can't imagine. You've been in the building many times, but you're walking on concrete, but it's really all steel is what the whole, a cell up there is made out of steel. So you're not tearing down drywall.
No. So that's like those crunchers. That's, and this just occurred to me as we go to a break, and you would know this, we would have heard about it, I'm sure. Just in a structure like that, I thought, is there a time capsule anywhere around there, to your knowledge?
I tell you what, we're definitely wanting to put one in the new one, and I haven't heard of one yet.
Okay, I mean, you may stumble on one, but that's usually recorded, and we would know if there was one in a cornerstone of the old jail when it was built. Wait, when was this one built?
82.
80, okay, so you
would think, and it would be. I mean, we're gonna put one in this one.
It's a good idea.
Just to have some. Won't be around to see when they get it out.
No.
Maybe someone can
dash
do it.
You're gonna have to decide what you're gonna put in there.
Right.
That's part of the fun.
Right.
All right. Listen, on that note, we'll take a break. We can take some phone calls for the sheriff. If you have questions about the jail, the way things are going out at Harding, and what the latest is with that. We also have some other things to touch bases on, including a big court hearing for Brandon Vandenberg, who remains in your custody as we speak. So how that will play out and how you'll handle it. We'll be back with more with the sheriff and your calls. Jump in if you'd like. 737-7587, back right after this.